Hello. I am trying. I don't know why it's been acting funky. My phone has been trying to turn off, so I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. Because when my phone goes to sleep, the video goes away. There we go. Swing you guys here this way a little bit. How's everybody doing today? Can you guys see the font of the question easily? I just want to make sure that it works. Yep, okay. Rebecca, no, you can't see the font. Let me see if I can make it a little bit more bold. I just have to do it on my computer and then resave it. Okay, Sandra, you can see it fine. Let me try to make it one more. Try to make it one more bigger and see if it helps. All right, give me just a second here real quick. I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger and then resave it and get it on my computer and see if that makes it any better. Okay, give me just a second. Let me get it pulled up. I don't know which one is which now. I have two files. And I don't know which one is. There we go. Okay. Is that a little bit better? You tried to watch it yesterday. You would put it on the computer. So when you're on the computer screen, it's fuzzy. That might be an internet connection issue. Yeah, I think that's going to be an internet issue, like a refresh rate. Did anybody else have issues with it being fuzzy yesterday? Oh, I'm hitting buttons and things over here on my computer. I have no idea what I'm hitting. My screens are going away. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, if it was storming yesterday, that probably is what it was, Rebecca. Okay, well, let's go ahead and jump in. I've got 12 questions today. I'm kind of like working on creating some for you guys that are different from the study groups and things along those lines. So let's go ahead and jump in. Again, the version of ICD-10 that I'm going to be using is the 2025 ICD-10 CM Expert. So if you have 2024, it's going to be essentially the same. There are some codes that may be more expanded, but essentially everything's going to be the same 2024 to 2025. There's no new guidelines, anything like that. But we'll just kind of start out here with number 1. So number 1, we have ulcer of necrosis of the muscle of the left ankle due to, actually, hang on, let me see. Is that any better? Can you guys see the whole thing now? Yeah, you guys can see everything. There you go. Okay. So ulcer with necrosis of the left ankle due to atherosclerosis of the native vessel of the left leg. So we have 2 ICD-10 codes we need to look up. The first one that we'll look up is the atherosclerosis because that is what it's due to, okay? So this is our underlying condition here, the atherosclerosis of the left leg. So in our alphabetic index, we will look up atherosclerosis. And then underneath atherosclerosis, I know that this is going to be a little bit small. I don't know that I want to zoom in and out every single time, but let's see. So if we do atherosclerosis, we are looking for something of a leg, right? Because it's on our left leg. There's no extremity or leg option here. So we are going to see arteriosclerosis. So we're going to go main term arteriosclerosis now. Okay. So arteriosclerosis. And then we will go to the extremities option, which is here. Underneath extremities, it is a leg. So we have to go to leg, which is going to be on our next page. So we're underneath leg. And then it is with, or sorry, we're underneath left. Okay, so we went leg, then we have to go to left because we know it's on our left leg here. Okay, so left is up here on the top. And then it is with ulceration because we have ulcer with necrosis. And then it is on the ankle. So that gives us I-70.243. Okay. So let's just write this down here real quick. So we remember. So we are going to go to I-70.243. Okay. Underneath I-70.243, we have atherosclerosis of native arteries of the left leg with ulceration of the ankle. Now, make note right here, it tells us we need to use an additional code. So even though we have with ulceration in the code description, we need to use an additional code to tell the location and the severity of the ulcer. So it gives us L97, but let's go and use our alphabetic index. So we know that that I-70.243 is for the atherosclerosis with the ulceration. So we still need to go to ulcer because we have to code the ulcer and its severity. Underneath ulcer, we will go to lower limb because it's on the ankle. And then our site is the ankle on the left. And then there is muscle necrosis. So we know that because there is necrosis here, and it's of the muscle, we're going to use our muscle necrosis. So that gives us L97.323. And that is a non-pressure chronic ulcer of the left ankle with necrosis of the muscle. So we have L97.323. Okay. So we are able to break it down. So again, even though this I-70 code indicates that there is an ulcer present, that I-70 code is not indicating the severity of it. So we have to use an additional code. And we had that use additional code note in there telling us that we needed to code also that ulcer. Okay. All right. Number 2, we have type 1 diabetes with unspecified diabetic retinopathy and diabetic cataract. Sorry, I think I scooted it up too much and I scanned it in. Okay. So here, again, we're going to have 2 codes. We're going to have our diabetic retinopathy, and then we're going to have our diabetic cataract. Okay, so we know our type, which is type 1. So alphabetic index wise, we are going to go diabetes. We're going to go type 1. And then let's just go the retinopathy first, because that one came first. And then we'll say retinopathy. And then we don't have any additional information as far as whether it's proliferative, non-proliferative, or any complications. So we'll just do E10.319. So let's write this down here real quick. We'll go to E10.319. So that gives us type 1 diabetes mellitus with unspecified diabetic retinopathy, because again, we don't know stage or type, and then without macular edema. Okay, so there's our retinopathy code. Next, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to come back to diabetes, type 1, and we're going to code our cataract. So we're going to do diabetes, type 1, cataract, and that gives us the E10.36. So let's go E10.36. And that gives us type 1 diabetes with diabetic cataract. Hey, Kay. Yeah, so you have your exam on the 17th. So about 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks. What to expect? Have you done practice exams? Have you done, the main thing is your practice exams. If you haven't done any book prep, is that something that you are wanting to do? I know some people book prep. Yeah, Nicole, 100% practice exams. All right, number 3. We've got primary lung cancer of the right middle lobe with metastasis to the neck of the pancreas. If you do AAPC official practice exams, yes, you do have to purchase those. So for this one, because we have lung cancer, we have primary lung cancer of the right middle lobe, and then it metastasized, or it spread or moved to the neck of the pancreas. So we're going to go in our table of neoplasms. And then the first one that we're going to do is going to be our right middle lobe of the lung. So we'll do table of neoplasms. And then we'll go to lung. So here's our lung. Okay, underneath lung, it is the right middle lobe. So we'll go middle lobe. And then it's our primary. So we need to go to our primary column, and that gives us C34.2. Now, if you notice in here, C34.2, okay, but we have detail about laterality, and we should never go directly from the table of neoplasms. So let's go to C34.2, see if we need to expand for the left versus the right. And then for this one, we do not. It is malignant neoplasm of the middle lobe, bronchus or lung. So in this instance, our right laterality doesn't really matter, but we always want to double check and make sure. Okay, so let's move to the metastasis to the neck of the pancreas. So we'll go back to our table of neoplasms and we'll go to the pancreas. So here's your pancreas. And then it's of the neck. And then because this one is a metastasis, or meaning that it has spread or it's secondary, we're going to go to the secondary column, and that's C78.89. So we'll go back and double check. Now, keep in mind, again, these are not the types of questions that you will see on the exam at this point. The exam is still multiple choice. So C78.89 is our secondary malignant neoplasm of other digestive organs. Okay. Any questions? Any thoughts? I know there's going to be a delay, so I don't want to sit here too long. Okay. Number 4, the code also in this one, this is only if we have pancreatic insufficiency. Our scenario does not indicate that there's any type of pancreatic insufficiency. So we would only code that if we have it documented. When will they start to incorporate fill in the blank on the exam? They have told us that they are going to beta test this year and then make a decision on when, but my best educated guess is they will not implement fill in the blanks until at least the beginning of next year. But again, they could surprise us. All right, this one, since I made it bigger, it's a little bit it's spaced out a little weird, but we can make it work. So we have acute bilateral lacrimal caniculatus due to Staphylococcus aureus. The answer to the last one is C34.2 and C78.89. So this one, again, we've got 2 codes. We're going to pull out the acute bilateral caniculatus, and then it's due to staph. Okay. So, our main term can you guys not see the question anymore? Mombi, I do not do inpatient coding. Zoom it out. Okay. I mean, I can zoom it out. I don't mind zooming it out. It's just going to make it hard to see the book. Okay, so we're going to go to the caniculitis, canaliculitis, or whatever we want to call it. That one's always been a hard word for me to say. Okay, so now we're going to go to the canaliculitis. And then it's got our lacrimal and acute in our non-essential modifiers. So we've got H04.33. Hang on, let me write this real quick. H04.33. Okay, so let's go back because it's telling us here too, we've got, where did it go? We've got a little check mark, so we have to go expand. So H04.33 is acute lacrimal canaliculitis. And then we've got bilateral. So we're going to go use our bilateral option. And it's going to be A3 for the 6th character. Okay. And then now we need to code the causal agent. So we need to go code our staph. So we'll go to Staphylococcus. Underneath Staphylococcus, it is going to be the cause of a disease classified elsewhere. And then it is aureus. So the Staph aureus caused a disease somewhere else. So we're going to use B95.61. And we'll go confirm that. If I take a course, is it the billing and coding course? So billing and coding courses tend to focus only on or more on billing than actual coding. But if you go through Legacy, we offer a dual course. And it gives you both billing and coding knowledge. Okay, and so we've got B95.61, which is going to be methicillin susceptible Staphylococcus infection as the cause of diseases classified elsewhere. So, okay, so Jennifer says, I thought the staph would be first since it's the causal. And then T said, wouldn't the due to be first? So in this scenario, no, because they're being seen and treated for the canaliculitis. So if we were to code the due to first, and then you've even got a code note or a code first note up here saying that code first the condition that results from the infectious or parasitic disease. So our condition is going to be first, and then we're going to code the causal agent of the condition. So that's why it's important. Oh, sorry, that was, yeah. Yep. So that's why it's important you have to not just read your code, right? You have to kind of come up here and look at your category, and then even sometimes in this range or this group of categories. So as a general rule, anything that's between B90 and B94 should never be sequenced first, because you should have the condition that is resulting from the infection first. Good question. I know that can get a little tricky, so. Okay. Let's do number 5. We have acute suppurative otitis media without rupture of the eardrum of the left ear. So our condition or our main term is going to be otitis. And then we'll go to media. So otitis, media. And then I've got to flip the page. And we will come all the way down here almost to the bottom to where it says suppurative. And then we'll do acute. It says without rupture, so we don't want to keep going or anything like that. We're going to stop at the H66.00. So we're going to go all the way back in the back to H66. .00, and that is our acute suppurative otitis media without spontaneous rupture of the eardrum. And we need to make sure that we have our laterality, so left ear. And that's going to be the 2 for the 6th character, because it tells us left ear. Now make sure you don't come down here to the 5, because even though this is left ear, it is recurrent, and they don't specify the recurrency. So we're going to do the left ear without any indication of recurrency. So it's going to be a 2. Okay. Number 6, we have a patient who habitually chews tobacco, and they are diagnosed with leukoplakia of the tongue, which is nicotine induced. So for this scenario, the condition that we are treating is going to be the leukoplakia of the tongue. And then we will code the tobacco dependence in a second. Okay, but our first condition is the leukoplakia. Okay, so leukoplakia, and then it's on the tongue. So we have K13.21. So our K13.21 is going to be leukoplakia of the oral mucosa, including your tongue. Okay. So now we've got to find our habitually chewing of tobacco. So if it is a habit, if they are habitually using something, that is going to equate to a dependence. It's not an occasional use, anything along those lines. So in our ICD-10 guidelines, let me find them. I gotta figure out what page I'm on here. In the ICD-10 guidelines, it tells us down here, it's really small, but it tells us we have a hierarchy. So use is going to be lowest, abuse is going to be second lowest, and then dependence is the highest. So we're going to code our dependence of the tobacco. So tobacco is technically a drug. So we're going to do dependence and then drug. And then nicotine. And then it is a chewing tobacco. Now, because our leukoplakia is nicotine induced, we have to use that information. So we're going to go under with a disorder because the tobacco, the chewing tobacco, has caused a condition. It's going to be with disorder, and then it is a specified disorder. Okay, so does that make sense to everybody? Because they specifically stated that the dependence of the chewing tobacco caused the leukoplakia, that can be a dependence of the drug with a disorder, and then because it doesn't have leukoplakia specified, then you are going to use the specified disorder NEC. So I haven't really figured out if I'm going to download these and put them on YouTube or not. I know we do have study groups that I do host on Zoom on Wednesdays, that those can be found on YouTube. If I figure out how to download videos from TikTok, because I have not figured that out yet, If I get that figured out, then I will get these downloaded and put them up. But I make no promises how quickly it's going to happen because, like I said, I haven't really quite figured out how to do all of that yet. I'm still working out all of the details of everything. So we're going to go back to the F17.228. And then Nessie says, how would you know what order to put them in? So in this instance, we are treating the leukoplakia, right? Because that's the condition. So that is going to be our first listed code because that's what brought them in. The chewing tobacco dependence didn't bring them in. The leukoplakia brought them in. So Blake, it's not necessarily based on the sequence in the statement. It is going to be based on guidelines and the reason for the encounter. So in this instance, it is not sequenced in the order. So just be careful with that. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. So the F17.228 is our nicotine dependence, chewing tobacco with other nicotine-induced disorders, which again is going to be that nicotine-induced disorder is our leukoplakia. So that's why we have to have two codes for this one. Okay? Oh, thanks, Lisa. I know. It's a hard concept and a hard thing to learn. So I try to make it as simple as possible. That doesn't mean that it is simple, but I try to break it down as simply as possible. Okay, number 7. Stress fracture of the right foot, subsequent encounter with delayed healing. So our condition is going to be fracture. And then it is considered a traumatic fracture. So a stress fracture is a traumatic fracture. So, fracture section is very large because we have a whole lot of bones that can break. So we're going to go a couple pages in. It's underneath traumatic, and it's our first indentation for stress. And then our anatomic location of that stress fracture is of the foot. So even though there's not a foot option, this is where it can get a little tricky, and this is why we need to know our med terms and our anatomy. So if we don't have a foot entry, we've got to look and see what can be used in the foot to describe in here. So we're going to go down and we're going to look at tarsus, because metatarsals are in the hand. Tarsals are in the foot. So we're going to use M84.37. For the tarsus. Okay. So let's go back to M84.37. And then M84.37 is going to be our stress fracture ankle and foot, or ankle, foot, and toes. And then again, this is our right foot. So we're going to come down to our option for right foot. So our 6th character is going to be the number 4. So remember, and I'm going to kind of go back to the alphabetic index for a second. So if you remember underneath fractures, we have a couple of options. We have on the first page of fractures, this is a non-traumatic fracture. This one is pathological. So if you and your brain is not going to remember that they are different, highlight them. And then you've got a traumatic. So that might help you in your brain make sense. And remember, we need to figure out what type of fracture, not just go directly to traumatic or pathological. Madison, do I go over HCCs for CDI? I mean, I can. I haven't done any lives for HCCs. But I mean, yeah, we can definitely, I'll put it on my list of things to kind of start to do some material for. Do I have any videos like this on YouTube? I don't. I mean, I have study groups that are on YouTube, but I don't show the book during the study groups. Just because it's on Zoom and it's hard to show the screen that I'm sharing and the book while I'm on Zoom. But I am going to try to figure out how to download these off of TikTok and get them into YouTube. But I will, once I get that figured out, I will get these get these loaded in. So for this instance, Gracie, there's not a seventh character that's applicable. So let's go look at it again. So M84.374. So in here, you are right, 100%. We should. I was, my brain, I started answering questions and got distracted. Thank you, Gracie. Yes, we do need a seventh character. 100%. So our seventh character, thank you for pointing that out. Seventh character is because we have a subsequent encounter with delayed healing. So our seventh character. So yes, always make sure you're doing what I did not do and don't do what I did. Yes, we do need a seventh character. So we do need that G. Butter, you want to go for your CPMA? Is that difficult? I mean, it's not an easy one for sure. Do you have experience in the job field? Is that something that you kind of have experience to kind of use that knowledge for the CPMA? Because I will say, if you try to just jump straight into the CPMA without having that work experience, it does make it a little bit harder. It's not impossible, but it definitely does make it a little bit harder. Yeah, you're an auditor. Okay, then yeah, the CPMA should not be difficult. I mean, it's not going to be like super easy. But if you do the study guide with AAPC, then that study guide, because that's how I got my CPMA, is I worked in the field for about 7 or 8 years. And then I did my CPMA, and I did not do a formal course. TT, I probably won't be posting these, but if you go to, Actually, no, it's not in there right now, but I will get them in there. Let me make a note. I need to put the study group Google Drive on my link tree. So I'm making a note here. But I will put the questions for the Wednesday night study group in there. And then, so once I'm done here, then I'll do that. And then they'll be on their TT. Are you on the... are you on the study group? Remind me, TT. I don't remember if you are. I feel like we've talked about it and you typically do come in. Do you have any examples on how you would find codes on doctor's orders or objectives? So I do have, I didn't get any done today, but I do have it up here on my list of things to do for like cases where you're actually seeing full scenarios and orders and records and stuff. So I don't have any today, but I will make sure to get those done. I used to do authorizations for health insurance and that helped with ICD-10 codes. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, Heaven, we're going to do some CPT later on, not today, but I am slowly working through getting some scenarios and stuff together. So we will eventually get some CPT stuff. Yep. Okay. So number 8, we have Crohn's disease of the small and large bowel. Okay, so there's our first condition. And then it is complicated by pyoderma gangrenosum. So the first thing that we're going to do is the Crohn's disease. So we'll go disease. And then Crohn's. I always spell Crohn's wrong whenever I'm looking at it. Even though it's literally right there on the screen, I always go CH instead of CR. Every single time. We'll do Crohn's. Oh my gosh, why is it? Okay, here we go. Crohn's. And it's going to send us to main term enteritis regional. So we'll go to enteritis. I don't know my alphabet today, apparently. Okay. So we'll do enteritis. So here's our enteritis. And then we'll go to regional. So anybody that wants to do the study group on Wednesdays, no, the study group on Wednesdays is open to everybody. It is in Zoom. And if you go to the link in my bio for that link tree, there's a registration link. So enteritis regional. It is of the large and small. So we'll go to large intestine first. And then I've got to flip it here so we're on the next page with the rest of it. Okay, so large was on the first side. Now we're up here and it's with... It is with a complication because it is complicated by that pyoderma, right? So it's with a complication. Then you're going to do small intestine because it's both the large and the small. We're going to go to with complication again. And then the complication is pyoderma gangrenosum, but it's not listed here. So we're just going to use a specified complication. So it's K50.818. Okay. Hang on, let me answer some questions here real quick. How much is it to buy all the books for the exam? Usually your books, if you're not a member, if you get the AAPC version of the books, they're about $300, I believe. And then you have to do your AAPC membership and your exam vouchers. So those run, the exam vouchers are $4.99, and then your membership, I believe, is $225 or somewhere around there. So this book is the ICD-10 Expert, CM Expert by AAPC. But yeah, Brianna, if you are going to do a course, don't buy them before you start your course, because most of your courses will include them. So like our course at Legacy Education, we include everything, including membership and exam vouchers and all of that. Aria, this is for medical coding. Yeah. Lisa, I'm waiting to get a computer desk before I start the course. Should I buy the books now? What course are you doing? Who are you going to go through with your course? Yeah, okay. So yeah, just answered your question. So yeah, look at your course, and depending on where you want to go, if you have not decided on a course, look at Legacy Education, where I'm a coach. And we, like I said, we include everything that you need for it. The link is in my bio if you want to look at the options for the course. And then if you have any questions, shoot me a message and we can talk about it. So we're going to look at K50.818. Sorry, I'm trying to not let too many questions stack up so that I'm not scrolling and trying to look for questions and then missing them. So we're looking at K50.818. And this is Crohn's disease of both small and large intestine with other complication. So this is telling us that we have a complication, but it's not specified. So we do need to have an additional code for that pyoderma gangrenosum. So we're going to go to main term pyoderma. So we've got pyoderma, and then we've got gangrenosum, and that gives us L88. So we're going to go verify that here in a second. So L88 is going to be a full code. Sometimes your categories can be codes. Sometimes you're going to need additional characters. So L88 is your pyoderma gangrenosum. So again, our Crohn's disease code is telling us that a complication is present, and then we need an additional code to tell us what that complication is. Rebecca, why the expert? Are you saying why the expert edition for the ICD-10? That's just the edition that AAPC sells. It's got all of your guidelines. It's got, you'll see, you'll have like little notes here that say like, see your official guidelines and things, that there are some versions of the ICD-10-CM that other publishers will sell that do not include little notes like that. But I'm a huge proponent of doing the AAPC books because they are the ones that you're taking your CPC exam with yesterday. I just read Victoria's. That's the one that you're taking your AAPC exam with. And their book is geared very heavily towards the information that's going to be on the exam. Congratulations, Victoria. That's awesome. I'm proud of you. All right. Next one. We have initial encounter for a pathologic fracture of the left metatarsal due to age-related postmenopausal osteoporosis. This patient had a previous pathological fracture of the hip due to osteoporosis. Rebecca, your code set and everything is going to be exactly the same. Your index is going to be the same, so don't feel like you are getting like gypped or anything if you don't have the expert version. All of your codes are going to be the same. Don't worry about that. If you've got 2024, there weren't really a ton of changes from 2024 to 2025. But just know that there are going to be some. TT, it says you can't register because it's for authorized registrants. Make sure you are signed into a Zoom account. We had an incident this past week that I had to lock down security. And if you do not have a Zoom account, it is all free to create. So you can just register with a Zoom account and then you should be able to register then. Teresa, these questions are not, I don't think that we're going to offer these for sale. But there are some questions that are written by AAPC that we are able to offer for purchase as the AAPC license programs. So if you go to medicalbillcode.com, there are some out there that you can use and you can purchase. And then if you go to the resources page, there are some free ones out there that we use for our Wednesday study sessions. For your classes, do you have to use a laptop or can you use a phone? I've had students that have done it on a tablet. I'm not saying that it's the best idea. You can do it on a phone. It's your eyes are going to strain. But if you have a tablet, you can do it on that. So for this number 9, okay, our condition is the fracture. So let's go to fracture. Now, this one, the fracture is due to postmenopausal osteoporosis. So for this one, this is going to be considered a pathological fracture. Okay. So we'll do pathological. It is due to osteoporosis. And it is postmenopausal osteoporosis. So this is going to tell us to go to osteoporosis postmenopausal with pathological fracture. So let's go to osteoporosis. So osteoporosis is here. Then it is postmenopausal osteoporosis with a pathological fracture. And it is on the left metatarsal. So that's M80.07. And then we're going to go back and further expand. So that's our pathologic fracture due to the osteoporosis. So M80.07. Yeah, Kaylee, you could just go directly to osteoporosis. I just wanted to have a couple examples of how your index is going to send you in other places. So that way you don't feel like if you are looking at things, if you're looking in a certain area and feels like you're chasing your tail, then it's somewhat normal. So I just wanted to give some examples. So yes, you could have gone directly to osteoporosis. Yep. I probably would have gone directly to osteoporosis because I've done enough of this that I know it's going to send me there. But again, I just wanted to show that you could go either way. Yep. So M80.07 is our age-related osteoporosis with current pathological fracture of the ankle and foot. And then we need a 6th character to tell us our laterality. We're under the left. So it's going to be 2. Now, I'm not going to do I'm not going to do what I did just a second ago and forget to do our 7th character. So we've got our red circle that tells us that a 7th character is needed. And then we've got to come back here to the M80 category. And this is an initial encounter. So we're going to use letter A. Now, I want to make it very clear, and I know that this tends to kind of throw some people off, okay? But I want to make this as hopefully as clear as possible. Initial encounter does not mean first visit, okay? So, I don't think our 7 characters are here, but let me look real quick. Trying to find the guidelines that are back here real quick. And I'm going to show you guys. Oh yeah, we do have guidelines. Okay. So our guidelines, letter C, for coding a pathological fracture. 7th character, A, is for use as long as the patient is receiving active treatment. They can be seen by a new provider or a different provider over the course of the treatment for the pathological fracture. So A equals active. It does not mean first visit and only the first visit. Okay, so just because that word initial is there does not mean that it is the first visit and only the first visit. If they are seen 3 times by this provider for the treatment of that pathological fracture, they are going to have the 7th character A all 3 of those visits because they are having active treatment for that pathological fracture. That's a question that a lot of people mess up on the exam. So A equals active. A does not mean first visit and only first visit. I always like to just kind of go on a little soapbox for a second on that one. Okay. So now we have our pathological fracture due to the osteoporosis coded. So now we need to code the previous pathological fracture of the hip due to osteoporosis. It's not a current condition. It is not a current pathological fracture because it is previous. That's going to be a history code. So we'll go to history. And then we want to make sure we're under a personal history, not family. So we've got our personal histories, right? And then this is a personal history of a fracture. And it's an osteoporosis fracture. So even though we have a pathological fracture option, okay, so be careful in the index on this. Even though we have a pathological fracture, if it is an osteoporosis fracture, that is a pathological fracture, but not all pathological fractures are going to be osteoporosis. Okay, does that make sense? So Z87.310. Sorry, the book gets a little heavy on the side whenever I go this far back. I need to bend this. If your book starts to do what mine was about to do and you were about to lose pages through that spiral, bend it. If you bend it, now it won't go through. Little tip. So Z87.310 is a personal history of a healed osteoporosis fracture. No 7th characters are needed. We fully expanded. There's no dots. So that's our code for the history of the osteoporosis fracture. Okay. Dull. Is marking the book helpful for the test? I personally think it is. A lot of my students think it is. I have book prep documents that are available for purchase. 2025 is going to be up soon for CPT, but 2025 for ICD-10 is up. Number 10, multiple closed fractured ribs to the right side after falling down a staircase at home, initial encounter. So, first thing we're going to code is the fractured ribs. I'll even highlight the right side because we know that it's there. Main term is fracture. That's our condition. It's a traumatic fracture because they told us that he fell down the staircase, so we know that's going to be traumatic. If they don't specify how the fracture happened, we can assume that it is traumatic. So then we'll go to rib underneath fracture. Again, fracture is a very large section because there's 206 bones in the body. Therefore, we have a ton of entries. And then we'll go rib. And then we have a multiple option. So we're going to go to S22.4. Do you have to go to school for this? It's not a requirement to go to school for it. You can go to a program like the program that I'm an instructor for that does not like require a bunch of prerequisites and a whole bunch of fluff classes and things like that. I'm about to go to school. I'm about to go to medical or to billing and coding school. This is helpful. Good. Where are you going? Have you enrolled? Have you picked a course that you're going through yet? So S22.4, multiple fractures of the ribs. And then it's on the right side. So we're going to use the number 1. And then we need a 7th character. We have 5 characters, right? So to get to the 7th character, we have to put that placeholder X. And then we have to come over here to the beginning of the S22 category to find our 7th character. And this is the initial encounter. So it's letter A. Currently in class now, about to start your internship or your externship. Good luck. Bree Janae, you're going to community college. That's awesome. Are you doing community college? I'm just curious. Are you doing community college because you don't know that there are programs out there, or are you doing community college because you are using financial aid? Just curious. No pressure. I like to ask a lot of people, a lot of people don't know that you do not have to go to a community college. So I just want to see if you know of your options. Yes, there are programs out there. So the program at Legacy Education, if you go to medicalbillco.com, go all the way up to if you go to my bio on TikTok, and then there's a link tree. It'll take you to medicalbillco.com. Go out there and look at those programs before you guys sign up for like community college. That's going to be probably like $5,000, $10,000 because you're going to have to take a whole lot of courses that you don't have to do. So our course focuses on coding. And then if you need med term knowledge, then we do offer that as well. But it's also a lot cheaper than college. So I just want to make sure everybody knows that. Okay. So the next thing that we're going to look at not all community colleges prepare for RHIT. Just a heads up. And not all employers find RHIT more. I've never held my RHIT, and I have always worked on the professional side of things, and I've never had an issue not having an RHIT. So just a heads up. A lot of people, that's kind of a rumor that's out there that, oh, it looks so much better. If you're going on the facility side, it might. But if you want to stay on the professional side of coding, RHIT is not a requirement. Your school is still using 2024 for the books. Your exam is going to be based on 2025 code set. But you can just write in updates. There were not any big guideline changes or anything like that changed. So you should be fine from 2024 books. Crystal, message me if you have questions about the course. Kaylee, the X is going to be your placeholder because we have to have a 7th character in a 7th character position. So if you have S22.41A, that is an invalid code. So just keep that nugget of information about needing those placeholders. Okay, yeah. If you don't need midterm, then you can just do a course. Yeah, you can just do the course. You have the 2024 version. Do I need the 2025? No. Nope, you don't need the 2025 version of the textbook. Or not the textbook, the code manuals. There really weren't a bunch of changes. You can just write in the updates. Yeah, if you're coding in a hospital, Jampo, then yeah. If you're coding in a hospital, then RHIT does tend to be a little bit more. But yeah, my program is billing and coding is their difference. There is billing and coding programs. I'm not saying 100%, but they tend to focus more on billing than coding. How many questions in the exam from ICD-10? You have 6, I believe, that are specific to ICD-10, but you will have some of your CPT questions that have ICD-10 worked into as well. So if you go through our course with Legacy, we include an internship that is actual on-the-job experience. So that's a big selling point of our course is other courses do not include the internship. So that on-the-job experience internship will help. Is the exam difficult? If you study and you're prepared, then it's not as difficult than if you don't. It's not an easy exam. That's 100% for sure. I can tell you that much. Yeah, Brittany. So you're going to leave the X in the code. That is a placeholder. So it's holding that place of the 6th position. Are you concerned about AI replacing coder jobs? No. I have used AI in my job, and I can tell you it will never take over. It will help in some ways make you a little bit faster and more efficient, but you will never find AI completely taking over. So an example of that, and I'm going to go through this real quick, and then I'll finish this scenario. A reason that I say AI will never take over is I had a scenario where we were looking at AI and it had pulled out conditions as far as like nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, all of those things. But whenever we looked at the record, it was pulling it from discharge instructions saying, if you experience any of these symptoms, call your provider. I also had somebody that had posted in a Facebook group the other day that said that they had a scenario where there was a code for an incarcerated prisoner. However, whenever they reviewed the records, it was an incarcerated hernia, meaning that the hernia had an obstruction. And so AI was trying to code it as an incarcerated prisoner. So to prepare for the exam, you can either go through a course like Legacy Education, or you can do one at your college, like your local college, things like that. Or some people even self-study if they have some type of background knowing some of the information. Yeah, you can absolutely take the exam without taking a class. It is not a requirement, but it is highly recommended. Just because if you don't already have some experience with it, then it's going to be difficult. Kasia, a good study guide is the AAPC study guide. If you're sitting for the CPC exam, then yeah, your AAPC study guide is hands down amazing. Yeah, code books are available to buy. Yeah, you can buy them at AAPC or any publisher. If you just go on to, I think you can even get them on Amazon. Okay, so for this one, we have already found our fracture code. So now we're going to look for our external cause. So this is what a lot of people tend to struggle with. External causes. So we have 5 types of external causes. We have our cause. We have the intent. So was it accidental or was it intentional? We have the activity. We have the place of treatment. And then we have the status. So falling down a staircase is going to be an accident, right? So unless we are specifically told that it's not an accident, we can assume that falling down a staircase is an accident. So we're going to go to main term. Again, this is external cause index. So we're going to go accident. And then this is a fall. Sorry, we're going to do accident. No, actually, we're not going to do accident. Sorry, my brain started going through the 5 real quick. So the fall is going to be the type of accident. So we'll go main term fall. I got a little thrown off. Answering questions. I got out of the mindset. So we're going to go fall. And then stairs. And then this is a specified type of stair, okay? Because it's in the home and we don't have a staircase in the home here, right? So we're going to do fall, stairs, specified, and that gives us W10.8. So we're going to go back to W10.8. If I can get this Big Bertha. To balance on me. So W10.8 is going to be a fall on or from other stairs or steps. Now, we need a 7th character. We only have 4, so we need to use 2 placeholders. And then we need to pick our 7th character, which is an initial encounter, so we're going to use letter A. Okay, so that's our fall. And then lastly, we have our place of occurrence. So we're going to go back to our external cause alphabetic index, and we're going to look up place as the main term. So underneath place, we're going to go to residence. And then it is home. So that is Y92.009. Keep switching back and forth. Y92.009. Hang on, guys. I'm going to find this code and then we'll answer some more questions. So Y92.009, right? Yes. Sorry. Unspecified place and unspecified, nope. Is it 099? Hang on. Hang on. Let's go back up. I think I transposed the number. Place, residence, home, Y92. Oh, sorry. I read the code itself as an unspecified place of service, not private. So it's not telling us where in the home it is, right? It's an unspecified place and an unspecified non-institutional residence. So that's going to mean our home as the place of occurrence of the external cause. So our includes notes tells us home, not otherwise specified as the place of occurrence. Okay. So let me go answer some questions real quick. Brittany, how often do you go live and do this? I haven't set a schedule for this. I'm going to try to get a little bit better about doing it more often. But as soon as I do, I'll let you guys know. I don't have a set schedule. Devin, where do you get the books? So I got mine at AAPC. If you go to aapc.com, then they've got a shop that's got all of the books. Codes are sequenced in a specific order, right? Yes. So for this scenario, our injury is first, and then it's our external cause codes. In this instance, our condition is first, and then our history code. So it's all going to depend on your guidelines. Bobby, I'm using just an iPad, and then I'm using an app called Notability. What's the purpose of the other two books sold in the course? So your CPT is going to be for procedures. And then your HCPCS is going to be for services that are not covered in your CPT, like Medicare services, some mental health and substance abuse and all of that. And then supplies, so like your durable medical equipment, wheelchairs, crutches, drugs. That's going to be a big thing that you'll see in your HCPCS. Is the AAPC study guide similar to the AAPC training manual? It's essentially the same thing. It's a little bit more condensed, but if you have the training manual, which is the textbook that comes with the AAPC course, then you wouldn't need to buy the study guide. It's essentially the same thing. Does AHEMA have study guides for the CCA? I don't know. I will be honest. I've never studied for a AHEMA certification. But I don't know. That's a good question. I don't want to answer that and say yes or no either way. Are these lives saved and are able to be replayed? I will eventually figure out how to download these and put them on YouTube, but I haven't quite figured that out yet. I've just started doing more lives and things like that. So I've got to get in there and play with it and figure it out. All right, number 11. Oh, hang on real quick. Do you know how long the self-paced AAPC course takes or gives you access? So It depends. If you go through Legacy Education, where I am an instructor, we are an AAPC licensed program. So we are all AAPC certified. We purchase the license and we are able to offer AAPC courses. So we offer the exact same thing that AAPC does. You get 12 months of access through our program. I know that there are some times that AAPC only offers like 12 months of access through their programs. Their timelines kind of change. But through our program at Legacy Education, like I said, you get all of the AAPC curriculum, the course, the books, all of that. Then that is offered through us, and we get 12 months. Oh, you're currently learning ICD-10? Yeah. Do you offer one-on-one crash courses? Your exam is the 27th. I have boot camps that are available. I just hosted one this past weekend, not yesterday, but the weekend before this one. And then you can purchase the on-demand version of that boot camp if that's something that you're interested in. If you go to the link in my bio. So Rebecca, yeah, that refresher training, that would be the same as the boot camp. So that would be something if you're looking for just kind of a refresher. The price for Legacy, if you want the free or if you want the self-paced CPC course, then it is, and I'll pull up the website here real quick. If you want this self-paced CPC course, it is $2,700. In that course, you get, and I'm pulling up the list here so you guys can see it as I'm saying it. So $2,700, you get the course itself, which is from AAPC. You get the workbook and the textbook. You get all 3 coding manuals, the CPT, HCPCS, and ICD-10-CM. You get any coaching that you need as often as you need it. You can set us up, or you can email us. You can set up 30-minute Zoom sessions, things like that. You can do that as often as you need. You get 1 year of your AAPC membership. You get 2 CPC exam vouchers. You get 1 official practice exam from AAPC. But you are able to, since we are licensed providers, we have a full test bank that we can pull questions from and create as many unofficial practice exams so you can get as much practice. What's not listed here is you get boot camp. Your boot camp is included. You get resume services. So once you have completed the course and you're ready to go out and start searching for a job, then you get professional resume services. You get book prep for all of your books, everything that's everything that's listed underneath the book prep section, and I'll show you guys that here in a second. All of that's included in the course. Once you complete your course and you get certified CPC, then you can be enrolled in Practicode, which will remove your apprenticeship. And then once you complete Practicode, this is the big thing here, this HCC internship. Your HCC internship is going to give you on-the-job experience. You will be able to put on your resume that you were employed by Legacy Billing and Coding, because we are unique in the fact that we have a billing and coding side of the department. And so you will be employed by Legacy Billing and Coding, and you will be able to count that as on-the-job experience. There are very few programs out there that do offer this. So that is something that makes us stand out. Oh, hang on. Something. Why did it do that? Okay. And then, so on the website, if you want book prep, then you can come out here. If you are not a student of Legacy, then you can purchase book prep, whether it be for the CPT. Right now, 2024 is only available. I just finished 2025 and am editing it, and it should be available sometime this week. But you can purchase book prep for each section or all files. Kathy, yes, we do offer the prerequisites. So if you need medical terminology, anatomy, and pathology, we do offer that as well. How many boot camps can we do if we're self-paced? We only have one boot camp, so you would just get access to the recording for the boot camp, or you can do the instructor-led, the live version. Sonia, with our CPC program, no, you do not learn billing. However, we do have a dual certification program where you can do a billing certification and learn billing, basically comprehensive billing beginning to end with that CPB certification. Beth, you do not ever have to recertify as long as you stay on top of your annual dues and your CEUs, or your continuing education units. Yes, we do have courses for medical terminology and anatomy. That's our prerequisite, what we call MTAP. If you're already doing AAPC courses, would you be allowed to do the internship? Unfortunately, no. We do not. Our internship is only available to legacy students. The pass rate for the CPC exam is over 90%. I haven't checked it in a while. I need to go and run some numbers. But our pass rate is higher than AAPC directly. I do know that much. Do we get the books sent to us? Yes. All of your books are going to be hard copies for the CPC program. The MTAP program is going to be digital copies though. Kathy, yes, we do offer payment plans. Yep. So payment plans are available through a company called SweetPay. So you can come up here to the website and then there's a financing options and it takes you to the SweetPay website. You do have to do a 10% down payment. And then you can, or you also have a $59 service fee. All of that's due at the beginning. And then your payment plan is going to be based on the total amount of your course. So whether you do self-paced, whether you do instructor-led, if you add on any additional certifications, if you add on MTAP, whatever it is, then they will work with you on down payment, let you know what your down payment would be. And then they will let you know what your monthly payment would be. Now, it is not going to go based on your credit, okay? So everybody gets approved. You just have to have a bank account. It's going to ask you for identifying information just to confirm your identity. But everybody's approved. So I want everybody to know that that's not going to like show up on your credit report. They're not going to, it's not going to affect your credit. If you have bad credit, everybody gets approved. If you purchase book prep, can you be considered a legacy student? No, unfortunately, the requirements are you have to be a CPC. You have to have gone through the CPC course in order to be considered a student to be eligible for the internship. Do you have to be a part of your school to get access to these questions that I'm using? These questions that I was going over today, I don't have these available anywhere, but there is and I need to put it on, let me get it pulled up here real quick. I need to get it on the link tree, but I do have a study group that I host on Wednesdays. Where is it at? Hang on. I just lost my, there we go. I do have a study group that I host on Wednesdays, and I will put the link for this in the link tree that I have questions that you can pull up and go over. So like if you're looking for ICD-10, oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Hang on. I just clicked on the wrong one. I was supposed to click on Safari. So there are questions here that you can go through, and they have the answer key and the rationale. So I'll get that OneDrive. Or not the OneDrive, sorry. I'll get the Google Drive posted. TT, yeah, we are not... we are not like credentialed by like a credentialing and accredited agency. So that's why we're not available for financial aid at this point. But I want to know when to start and the fee of the entire course. So the self-paced starts at any point. If you're doing the self-paced program, that is $2,700. You can go out to medicalbillco.com/CPC and you can see all of the courses that are available and their prices and everything that's included. You went to school for this in 2022. Did you get, so, okay, yeah. So you gained your certification. Go out there and see what's out there. Always, make sure that your resume is there. Make sure that your resume is, like either professionally done or it's been reviewed by someone to help you kind of make you shine. I think that's the hardest part, is when we are the ones writing our resumes. It can be easy for us to downplay our daily responsibilities. But yeah, that's just kind of one of the things that your resume is what's going to kind of hinder you a lot. Studying tips to help prepare for the exam. Do your AAPC practice exams, if that's the exam that you're talking about. Go out and get those AAPC practice exams. We do have those available for the CPC on our website as well. And we have a total of 12 practice exams. AAPC directly only offers 6. But since we are licensed providers, we do have an additional 6. Becky, the website is medicalbillco.com/CPC. The link is in my bio. TT, if you need a professional to do your resume, we use Sarah Reagan with Caffeinated Career Creations, and she is fantastic. She can make the most mundane tasks sound like you are doing brain surgery. She's amazing. So if you need somebody and you're interested in somebody to professionally review your resume, Sarah Reagan is hands down amazing. I believe I have, hang on, let me go to my link tree here real quick. I believe I have her linked in my link tree as well. Hang on, I'm trying to pull it up here. Yeah, so if you go to my link tree. Oh yeah, Rachel, I forgot. She does do your LinkedIn as well. If you go to my link tree, this is the website. The first one is the Legacy Education website. The book prep is going to be on the Legacy website, but it just takes you directly to that section. If you're interested in joining the study sessions on Wednesdays, then this is the link to register. You have to have a Zoom account. If you do not have a Zoom account, it is free to sign up for it. We just had an incident this past week where we had to lock down a lot of things and make sure that everybody's like registered and authenticated and all of that. We do have a YouTube channel as well, so you can go out there, and if I do figure out how to download all of the lives and things from TikTok, then I will get them uploaded on YouTube soon. I have a Facebook page that you can go to, and then Sarah, to do the resume services, is here. So if you click on that, it'll take you to her Facebook page. And then she actually has a website now. It's caffeinatedcareercreations.com. And this is where all of her contact, like how to get in touch with her and the packages that she offers. Once you pass the certification, is it good in every state? Yep. It is a nationally recognized certification. It is not a state level. Yep. How long does it take to typically go through financing? Once you apply for it, they will typically reach out to you within like 24 hours, and then give you all of your financing options. Once you sign the contract and then you pay your down payment, then it takes about 5 days after your down payment is taken out. Then once that down payment is taken out, it takes about 5 days for us to receive those funds, and then we will enroll you at that point. So if you are doing financing, then it does take a little bit longer versus paying in full. Kimba, yeah. I mean, there's plenty of people that either, are, brand new to the workforce that are doing this. There's people that are completely changing everything, changing careers and all of that. There's all kinds of people from different backgrounds that go into this field. Oh yeah. Okay. So it takes about 10 days in total if you do financing, and that includes all of the conversations, getting your contract ready, signing it. And then once it is sent over to us, then it takes about 10 days total. Yep. Tina, you get 12 months of access to each course. So if you are doing a dual certification, the dual certification that is like CPB and CPC, then you get 12 months per course. So we do what's known as rolling enrollment. We will only set you up for one of the courses at a time, so that while you're working on the CPC, then your CRC isn't just sitting there, ticking away while you're not working on it and you're spending time on the CPC. So you would do your CPC course, you would get certified, and then once you are certified and you are ready to move on to the risk adjustment, then we would enroll you and you would get 12 months of access for the CRC course. Do I know how the AI systems will affect billing and coding jobs? It will never completely replace us. I know that's been a big thing that a lot of people have been concerned about lately. And I know I went over this earlier, but I think you joined afterwards. But like, for instance, it will help you and it will make you more efficient. And it will help make you more accurate. However, like I said, I don't think it's ever going to completely take us over, because I've had multiple instances at my job that it has been completely wrong. Like the big example is it's pulling out keywords, right? But it doesn't know where it's pulling those keywords from. So we had a discharge instruction that said, please call your provider if you're experiencing any of the following symptoms. And it said nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, all of the things, right? And it tried to code those as current conditions. So therefore we had to go in and say, no, patient didn't have this. This came from a discharge record type thing. I had somebody in another Facebook group that I'm in that had said something where they had a patient that had an incarcerated hernia, meaning that hernia is obstructed and it's kind of like twisted. And the AI tried to assign a code saying that it was an incarcerated prisoner. So it's got its things that it can do very well, and it's got things that it does not do very well. So those are just some examples of how, like I said, I don't think it will ever completely take over. It will help us, and it will help us become more efficient. But in my opinion, we're not going to go away. There's always going to need to be, that human element to it that technology can't always do. Any other questions? I know I've got a lot of you all on here. There were a lot of questions that came in very quickly and a lot of comments that came in very quickly. Did I miss anybody's questions? Okay, let's go back to, I know we've gotten a little distracted. How often is the exam offered? You can take the exam at any point that you need. You want to be an ambulance coder? That's a good question. I don't know if there's a specific exam for ambulance. I'm not aware of one. That doesn't mean that there's not one out there, but it's just not one that I'm aware of. Is there a demand for coder jobs? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of people that are retiring in the field. Because, the field's been around for, years. It's not like a new field. So, yeah, as people leave the workforce, then, yeah, there's going to be that need to backfill. What is the best entry point to start? Are you talking, Paris, from an education standpoint or from a job standpoint? I find ICD hard to find codes from scratch when doing cases. Yeah, I have cases that I am going to create and be able to do on a live with you guys. I just have not gotten them actually fully finalized. But I do plan to do some cases with you guys eventually. Bitsy, my brain cannot wrap around inpatient coding. I have done professional coding for so long that from an inpatient facility standpoint, the ICD-10 PCS just hurts my brain. So people that can do it, I have the utmost respect for you guys because it's a whole different ballgame. Okay. When is my next live? I don't have anything scheduled yet. I'm going to try. I have some things that I'm trying to do and get finalized, that are not live, that are not TikTok live related. But I have some things that I'm trying to get done, and then I'm really going to sit down and try to come up with a schedule. But like I said, I don't have anything right now scheduled. I'll probably do it either Monday or maybe Wednesday, but I don't know. Is there a difference in AAPC and AHEMA? Yes. AAPC, especially your CPC exam, is going to focus more on professional coding. There is an outpatient facility, the COC certification, and then you have the CIC, which is an inpatient certification. And then your AHEMA exams, the CCA and CCS, are going to focus majority on, it's not 100%, but they do tend to focus more heavily on facility coding for the inpatient hospitals. What is the average starting salary? That's going to depend on your location. And it's going to depend on your employer. Your average nationwide, I haven't looked at the salary. I haven't looked at the salary survey from AAPC in a little bit, But I believe the national average, now keep in mind, California is going to make more, Kentucky is going to make less, right? Type thing. It's going to depend on your area. I believe it was somewhere between 45 and 55, but I can't say for sure. Is the book prep for AAPC books different for Optum? So the CPT, no. The CPT is going to be the same because there's only one publisher for the CPT manual that you can take into the exam, and that is the professional edition. You cannot take in the CPT expert. This is the one and only version. Obviously, your year can be either 2024 or 2025, but this is the one and only version, the professional edition by AMA. It cannot be the CPT Plus. It cannot be the CPT Expert. It has to be exactly this version, just a different year. I'm struggling with CPT. Find ICD-10-CM easier. Any pointers? I'm going to try to do some scenarios with CPT with you guys for sure. It's a whole different ballgame. You have to change your brain, the way it thinks from conditions and what's wrong with the patient to what is, what are we doing and how are we treating it? So it's a little bit different of like a mindset that you have to be in, to go from conditions to procedures. Do you know if there's a good amount of online coding and billing jobs, like 100% remote? I will be honest. I mean, there are jobs out there, 100%. It's going to be a matter of how picky you're going to be in your job search. Just because, if you are willing to do in person for a little bit and then go remote, then you might potentially have, more opportunities that are available. I mean, a vast majority, I'm not saying like every single job that you find is going to be remote, but there are more remote jobs out there than there used to be. For the difference between ICD-10 for AAPC and Optum. I mean, there's going to be some differences. I haven't looked at the Optum in probably like 7 or 8 years. But I do know that I prefer AAPC over Optum from a learning standpoint. Do you provide the book that you can use in the final exam? By the final exam, Tina, do you mean the certification exam? Rachel, for the ICD-10, they can use any version of ICD-10. And the only reason I know that for a fact is because I just looked at the required book list the other day and it said any publisher. Okay, TT, so you have Optum and ICD-10 looks the same when you were following along. Perfect. Okay, so Tina, yes. So for your certification exam, for the CPC exam, we offer with our course the ICD-10, which is the AAPC version. You get the CPT, which is the professional edition, and then you get the HCPCS level 2. So these are the 3 books that you can take into your exam, and you do get hard copies of those with the course enrollment. Okay. Let's do these last 2 questions that I have really quickly, and then I'll answer some more. So we have, I know we kind of like went off on that for a little bit. I don't even know what time it is. Hang on, let me look. It's 3:30. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing something. Number 11, congenital cystic kidney disease. So our main term is going to be disease. Then we're going to look under kidney. Good gal says, you've been yapping too much. I've already looked at my question because it's been on it's been on the screen for 20 minutes. So we'll do disease, kidney, and then we're going to go down to cystic, and that includes congenital because that's in our parentheses, which is our non-essential modifier, and that gives us Q61.9. So I'm going to write it here. And then we're going to go verify. So Jess, your main term is typically, I don't want to say never, but your main term is typically going to be the condition, not your anatomic location. So Q61.9, sorry, I got distracted for a second. Q61.9. And that is just cystic kidney disease unspecified. Now it doesn't have to say congenital here because it is underneath congenital malformations and then in our congenital malformations chapter. You're about to do homework, so you had your book ready. Good. The next instructor-led course is 625 to 126. Will 2025 books be used for the exam taken early 2026? Yeah, you can. If you want an instructor-led CPC course, then the next CPC instructor-led course that I have is March the 11th. If you're wanting the dual certification for the CPC and the CPB, then yeah, you would have to wait until the June enrollment. But if you want the CPC course, then you can do that March 11th if you want that instructor-led course. All right. Ignore this case. I know I said I didn't have them done, but I haven't completely finalized it yet. So we're just going to do number 12. So salpingitis followed by complete spontaneous abortion. Okay. So our condition is the salpingitis. So we've got salpingitis, and it is complicating an abortion. So it's sending us to abortion, the type complicated by, and salpingitis. So we're going to go up to abortion. And then it is complicated by, we're going to do abortion, then it told us to go to type. So it's a spontaneous abortion. And then that's just telling us to see the abortion complete spontaneous, right? Because our spontaneous is in non-essential, or in the parentheses, which is our non-essential. So then we'll go to complicated by, and then salpingitis. So you've got 003.5. So we're going to go verify 003. So we've got 003.5, which is your genital tract and pelvic infection following complete or unspecified spontaneous abortion. So that includes salpingitis following complete or unspecified spontaneous abortion. Okay. Any other questions you guys want to talk about? Any questions? Anything related to coding, not related to coding? Anything you guys want to chat about before? Anybody that has any questions, don't hesitate to shoot me a message. I'm happy to, if you have questions about the course, you have questions about, like what's included, all of these, then I'm happy to have a conversation. Do you use these books in the field? So in my job, I use what's known as an encoder. And it basically houses like all of the code sets, their guidelines, includes, excludes, like as well as CMS RVUs, all of that kind of stuff. So I don't physically use books like a lot during like my day-to-day, but from a learning perspective, then your books it's all essentially the same thing that's located in those encoders. But yeah. How long is the internship portion of the course? You have up to 1 year to complete it. So if you complete it faster, then you can, but if it takes you a full year to complete the internship, then it can take you up to a year. Yeah, Jasmine, absolutely. Yep, you can just sit in and just observe and, use your books and do all of that. You don't have to, it's not a requirement to be sitting and preparing for an exam if you're already certified. Yeah, there's going to be some people that do use their books on the job. My employer, I am just lucky enough and grateful enough that my employer supplies that encoder. But if they didn't supply that encoder, then I would probably use my hard copies. Is the internship the same as HCC? So yeah, the internship is an HCC. So you are only going to be coding your ICD-10 codes during your internship. You are not going to be using CPT codes during the internship. Oh, Brittany, I honestly don't know. I have never worked on the billing side. I have never done any of that type of work, so I would not be able to give any advice on that. I think it's going to depend, on kind of the specialties and like caseload and things like that. Once you get a job, are there a certain amount of cases that you have to do a day? Yeah, you will have a production standard and a quality standard. It's going to vary based on employer, based on specialty, based on a bunch of different factors. So there are some people that their production is as low as like 3 an hour. And then there's some that their production could be as high as like 20 or 30 an hour. It just depends on the type of cases and the type of charts that you're working. Is an assessment of the patient by the anesthesiologist before a surgery included? Yep. So if you go to your anesthesia guidelines in your CPT manual, let me pull out my CPT manual here real quick. So in your anesthesia guidelines, you have everything that's included. So you've got your pre-op and your post-op visits. You've got the anesthesia care itself during the procedure, administration of any fluids, blood, and usual monitoring. And then it tells you that unusual is not included. What advice do you have if ICD-10 CM is harder than CPT? Practicing. That's the only way you're going to get more comfortable and confident. I was the complete opposite. I struggled more with CPT whenever I started out, and then the more that I did it and I used it, the more comfortable I got. So that's just going to be the key thing, is just practicing and doing as much as you can. Do you feel billing and coding go hand in hand or totally separate? They definitely do go hand in hand, for sure. You're going to have some offices where you might have some billing responsibilities, and then you're going to have some offices and, employers that are only going to want you to focus on one or the other. Having billing knowledge is going to give you a rounded out ability to understand the whole revenue process and why we have to do certain things when we're coding as well. They do go hand in hand, but they are different all at the same time, if that makes sense. So it's a little bit of both. You finished your course, but you don't feel like you've learned much coding. Yeah, stuck on where you can study for your CPC. I hate that you feel like you are still lost. The big things that if you have not done, I would highly recommend doing the CPC study guide. If you did not get the CPC textbook from the program. I don't know what program you went through. Also do AAPC official AAPC official practice exams. And those can help kind of reiterate things. And I do also host a Wednesday night study session that goes over cases very similar to kind of what we did today, but they're going to be a little bit more, they are written by AAPC. With us being licensed instructors, we can do that. And we kind of talk about, process of elimination and things along those lines as well. Bobby, you're trying to decide if you want to do both or focus on more than one. Yeah. Shoot me a message and we can talk about it. Brittany, did you do the billing and coding through like the dual certification through AAPC? Jean, so yes, your anesthesia charge will include your pre-anesthesia assessment. Yep, it's in your usual pre-op visit is included. Where can you find practice case studies? We have some on the Legacy Education website. Let me get back to it here real quick. If you go to the Legacy Education website and then up here you have resources, there are some problems and questions that you can go through and practice. Brittany, no, the study groups are on Zoom. Sorry, I'm reading through some of the comments here. You bought your books from AAPC, but you don't have any study material. So if you go to the Legacy Education site, and nope, I didn't mean to hit cart. If you go to the Legacy Education site and then you go to study materials, we actually offer the AAPC study guide. And you can use code TRCC and get 10% off. So if you do either one, the physical or whatever, then you can put it in your cart. And I'm going to show you guys. If you use coupon code TRCC, so before it was $99 and it takes off $9.90. So if you use code TRCC, then you can get 10% off. And it is the actual AAPC study guide. Are you allowed to write in your books for the CPC exam? Yep. You just cannot write questions and answers from the study guides, from any of your course material, from practice exams, anything like that. L Trader. What's more in depth, billing or coding? They both go into depth in different things. So they're both going to be very detailed courses, but one's going to go into detail about billing and one's going to go into detail about coding. Do you have to pay for practice on the website? Anything that's on the resources page, no. This is all free. How do I attend the study sessions on Zoom? If you go to the link that's in my bio, and then it takes you to the link tree. Let me get back to it here. If you go to the link tree, this link here for the registration, you can register. You just have to make sure that you have a Zoom account. You saw a tip sheet for ICD-10 code lookup. Okay, so if you go to the resources page, again, anything that's here. So the ICD-10 code lookup is here. So anything that's on the resources page is free. If a certified and certified and a biller for 3 years, will that count towards the apprenticeship? To remove the A, it depends on the responsibilities that you have as a biller. Some of the responsibilities, sometimes AAPC will accept it. If you are applying modifiers, if you are changing codes, if you are, but if the responsibilities of your job tell you that you have to go back to the coder to make any changes, and your job duties, and I don't know, like I said, it's going to differ for everybody. Then some jobs will say you're not allowed to do anything. You're only allowed to follow up with the insurance companies and do the actual billing responsibilities versus the actual coding. Then they typically won't accept that. But if you are doing certain things, with the reports and appending modifiers and doing things like that, then that typically will, they typically will accept that. Yeah. Then I would say, it can't hurt to get the letter. You would just have to have your employer write a letter, like your manager, and then send it in. I think you have to have 2 letters. I think you have to have one from a manager and one from like a coworker or something. Let's see. Let me see if I can find it on here real quick. If you are doing letters, letters of verification. Okay, so hang on. I'm skimming this a little bit too much. Employer verification of at least 2 years of on the job. Only employers' letter or letters of verification must meet these requirements. Include coding experience, and then it says letter or letters. Yeah, it doesn't say. It used to say specifically that you had to have 2. But it doesn't say. It just says letter or letters. Unless I'm totally missing it and reading over it. Okay, yeah. So only employer supervisor. So I guess they do only require 1 now. They used to require 2, but I guess they do only require 1 now. So if you have multiple jobs over 2 years, then you just have to have a letter from each one of them indicating how long, and it just has to add up to 2 years. But yeah, I don't know if you guys know this, but out here on the AAPC website, because I know I get a lot of questions, and not that I'm like anybody that asks questions today, but I just want people to know that this is out there. If you are curious about the breakdown of the exam, you'll go to the CPC page, And then if you click on taking the exam and then scroll all the way down, you have a breakdown of how many codes or how many questions are in each section. So you have 4 med term, 4 anatomy, 3 compliance and regulatory, 7 coding guidelines that could be either ICD-10 or CPT, 5 that are specific to ICD-10, 3 that are specific to HCPCS, 6 in each one of your CPT sections. Besides anesthesia, you only have 4, and then 10 cases with 1 question each. Now, let's say you're taking the CPB and you want the breakdown of that. Go to CPB, same thing. Taking exam, scroll down, and you've got 29 on types of insurance, 17 on billing regulations, 7 on HIPAA, 19 on reimbursement and collections, 19 on claims and billing, 10 on coding, and 34 case analysis. You do, Bobby, you do only have to have 2. She's just saying that she's been there for 3. Yeah. So, yeah, Bobby, you're fine. You really do only need 2. Rachel, I know. I have all of the billing knowledge, and I'm scared to take it. I'm not going to lie. I'm scared to take it because it's a lot of information. It's a ton of information. So if you guys want to do the dual certification course with Legacy, and I'll kind of go through this a little bit, either, if you do the self-paced or whatever, then we do enroll you in the CPC course first. Okay. A lot of people think, oh, I want to do billing first because I want to get, my job, or I want to get my foot in the door doing billing while I'm studying for coding. If you learn coding first, then it makes your billing a little bit easier because you're not having to learn how to code for these questions for claims and billing and modifiers and when to do all of that and whatnot. So if you learn your coding first with your CPC course, then we put you into the billing, and then you only have to learn the billing information because you're adding on to the coding knowledge that you have already. So I know that's a thing that I get a lot of questions about is, well, can I do the billing first and then get my foot in the door? Well, we like to enroll you in the CPC first because if you learn the coding first, then you're not having to learn coding and billing at the same time. Yeah, Teresa, billing, it's a lot. I used to teach a couple billing classes at a local college that was here in town. And I mean, it's a lot of information that you have to know. It is definitely not for the faint of heart. Okay. Anybody else got any questions or anything? I think the comments have kind of slowed down. I know I was really only planning on going live for an hour, but I'm almost 2.5 in, so. I will let you guys know when I'm going to go live next. Like I said, it might be like Monday or Wednesday, but I don't know 100% for sure. But as soon as I kind of nail down my schedule for the week and what hours I'm going to work on what, like I said, I have a lot of other free resources that I'm trying to load into YouTube and all of that as well. So once I get some idea of what my schedule will be like for the week, then I will let you guys know what days I'm going to go live here. Don't forget, I've got that study group on Wednesday that is open to everybody. And then I teach Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I'll kind of be a little off the grid on Tuesdays and Thursdays. But if anybody has any questions about the programs, anything that we offer, anything like that, then don't hesitate to reach out. Okay. Y'all have a good night.